Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for your time here with us today. And I'd like to echo a lot of the comments my colleagues have already made. When you get to the end of the dais, a lot of those questions that I had originally have been touched on, but it also gives me a chance to kind of assimilate and assess kind of what I've been hearing. And I really do hope you all understand the significance of this. I mean, you put us through big hoops to try to get money appropriated. Our phones lit up back home. We had veterans scared to death thinking they were going to lose all their benefits. And it turns out that this was all in a big budget screw up, really. Dr. Elnahal, I do appreciate your comments that we need to get it right. You're looking at an outside group to come in and help do a review, and that it's important to work hard to improve the accuracy of these projections. I fully agree with you. I know you've had service on the private side and the public. You know, on the private side, you don't have the luxury of missing budgets like that. You just don't. In the government, we can always make it up. We just create money out of thin air and we press on down the road. So it's easier. It's always easier to underestimate and have carryover than to miss your budget. And Mr. Jacobs, I get it. I understand your point that we can't afford to miss. We're certainly not going to leave our veterans hanging. But to say, you know, it's a risk we're not willing to take to under budget by $1. And you made the comment about it being prudent management. I guess I just want to understand, do you feel that this whole episode was prudent management?
Congressman, when we identified the updated projections that identified the potential need for additional money, we had a couple options to make. One, which we chose to do, was to elevate the risk, to communicate it, and to seek the funding, knowing that if we're even $1 over our spending cap, we would have to delay benefits for all nearly 7 million veterans and survivors. Unlike other mandatory programs, we don't have authorities to provide such sums as are necessary, and so we're limited by that fact. We considered a couple of other options. One is we could keep our head down, hope everything worked out, and pray to God that we didn't exceed the cap and have to come to you telling you that we're going to delay payments, because we know the impact that would have on the customers we serve. The other option we considered was, okay, maybe we can slow down benefits so we don't hit the cap. That's what I assume would happen in the private sector. That wasn't an option we thought was fitting with a veteran-centric ethos of delivering more benefits to more veterans. And so I'm certainly not happy with the way things turned out. In an ideal world, we wouldn't have to come here. I spent 10 years working in Congress. I worked for an appropriator. I know how significant it is to make a request of this nature and to secure the funding. I'm incredibly grateful for you, for everyone, for making this happen. And we want to make sure we apply the lessons learned moving forward so it doesn't happen again.
So it sounds like some of the brakes you did put on, though, were reducing the pace of hiring personnel and the equipment, bringing on new equipment?
On the benefit side, we did not. All of the funding we're talking about was dollars in the pockets of veterans, families, and survivors. And I'll defer to Dr. Elnahal to speak.
I'm interested in the equipment purchase delays because,
Yes.
Here it is, we're in a new budget year, and the safe thing to do, if our standard of performance is to never screw up and be as safe as possible, are we holding back on these equipment purchases now because it's early in the new fiscal year, and then we may get to the end of this fiscal year and we're kind of worried again, so we kick the can on down the road? What kind of equipment are we talking about, and what are we suffering by not making these purchases that have been appropriated?
It ranges, Congressman, from some of the more most complex equipment we have at our medical centers, upgrades, maintenance, entirely new equipment to deliver complex surgeries and high acuity care, to more simple things like the rising costs of CPAPs and home devices that veterans need. We're anticipating significant cost increases, as is every other healthcare system across the country. And so it's why we know we're going to need additional funding.
So why once you got the extra appropriation and then you realize, whoops, we really didn't need all that money, why not make end of the year equipment purchases? Instead of rolling it forward, why not execute the things that you thought you were going to do at the beginning of the fiscal year?
I think, Congressman, what was enacted as a supplemental was the veterans benefits money for compensation. I don't know if you want to comment on that, Josh.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Different pot of money,
Different
right?
pot of money.
Yeah, got it. All right, thanks, Mr. Chairman. I'll yield back.